Hello everybody, it's time for some more Greek myths. Today we're going to have Daedalus and Icarus. And I'm going to show some of the words as we go along so that you can follow along on screen as well if you want to. Daedalus of Athens was the first great inventor. He invented the saw, the potter's wheel, and the compass for drawing circles. Many of his inventions are still used today. Daedalus became known throughout the world. Minos, the king of Crete, invited him to Knossos, the capital of his kingdom. There, Daedalus built a royal palace whose ruins can still be seen. It was one of the largest, most beautiful buildings in the ancient world. Daedalus also built a labyrinth beneath Minos's palace. The labyrinth was a network of tunnels and passages that twisted and turned in every direction. It was a perfect place to keep treasures. It was also a perfect place to keep people and creatures that Minos did not want to be seen. People who entered the labyrinth would never find their way out again unless they possessed the magic key. The key was a ball of thread. They tied it to the entrance and rolled it into the labyrinth. The thread led them through the tunnels to wherever they wanted to go. To go out, they followed the thread back to the entrance. Daedalus had invented his magic ball of string. He only made one, which he gave to Minos. How pleased Minos was with Daedalus's gift. "You must stay with me in Knossos as my honoured guest," he said. Minos gave money to Daedalus to build his own palace. He gave him one of his daughters to be his wife. Her name was Naukrate. Daedalus loved her very much. Together they had a son whom they named Icarus. Icarus grew up to become a handsome young man. Minos made sure that Daedalus and his family had everything they wanted. Then Naukrate died. Daedalus began longing to return to Greece. He hadn't seen his native city of Athens for 20 years. Icarus was eager to go too. His father had told him stories about the world beyond Crete's little island. Icarus wanted to see these places for himself. Daedalus asked Minos for permission to leave. The king refused. He did not want the greatest inventor in the world to work for anyone else. He locked Daedalus and Icarus inside the labyrinth to teach them a lesson. "Don't ever try to leave Crete," he warned when he released them. "If I discover you're planning to escape, I'll put you both in the labyrinth for good." Daedalus was frightened, but he was not ready to submit. He climbed to the roof of his palace to think. He looked down at the ships anchored in the bay. There could be no escape by sea. Minos's soldiers controlled the harbour. They patrolled every inch of the seashore. If Daedalus and Icarus could not leave by water, how else could they get away? While Daedalus thought about the problem, he noticed a flock of seagulls flying overhead. The squawking gulls seemed to be laughing at him. "Laugh if you like, you silly birds," Daedalus said. "You think getting off this island is easy. It is for you. You can fly." Suddenly, Daedalus had an idea. For the next several months, he studied the birds. He watched them as they flew around the island. He discovered how warm air rising from the sea carried them higher. He examined the dead birds to learn how feathers, bones and muscles came together to form a wing. Daedalus began scratching designs on a wax tablet. He and Icarus walked along the seashore, collecting feathers from dead birds. Minos soon learned what they were doing. He ordered Daedalus and Icarus to come to him. "What are you up to?" he asked. "Tell me the truth, or I'll put you both back in the labyrinth." I'm going to build a pair of wings for Icarus and myself, Daedalus answered. We're going to learn how to fly. How Minos laughed. What a foolish idea. People can't fly. Flying is for birds. People can do anything if they think long and hard about it, Daedalus replied. Minos dismissed them. Go ahead. Make all the wings you like. You'll never escape from Crete that way. Daedalus only smiled. He bowed and went back to his workroom. Daedalus made 2 pairs of wings. The frames were wood and wired, covered with wax. Daedalus stuck the feathers into the wax when it was soft. The wax would hold them in place when it hardened. Daedalus and Icarus chose a day when a strong breeze blew in from the mountains to the ocean. They carried their wings up to the roof and strapped them on. Hold out your arms, Daedalus told his son. Pretend you are a bird. Let the air carry you. Don't tire yourself out by flapping too much. Icarus felt so excited that he barely heard Daedalus's last warning. Remember not to fly near the sun. The wax on your wings will melt. The feathers will come loose. You'll fall into the sea. I'm ready, father, said Icarus. May I go first? Go ahead, said Daedalus. Lead the way and I will follow. Icarus stepped onto the balcony. He climbed up on top of the wall and leaped into space. Daedalus gasped as he saw his son falling. But then his wings caught the air. Up, up flew Icarus. Daedalus watched him soar higher and higher until he was a dot in the sky. Now came Daedalus's turn. He leaped from the balcony. The air lifted him up. He tried his wings. They carried him perfectly. The gulls flew by to have a look. What is this strange new bird? They seemed to call to each other. Daedalus looked up. He saw Icarus flying towards the roof of the sky. Where is that boy going? He muttered. He is much too high. He must not go near the sun. Daedalus raised his voice. Icarus, come back! But Icarus was too far away to hear. He flew even higher into the clear blue sky, entranced at being so close to heaven. Looking down, he saw the mighty ocean. It seemed no more than a puddle. The great city of Knossos looked like an anthill. Icarus turned his eyes upwards. I want to fly higher, he told himself. I want to see what the gods see. He did not notice how close he was coming to the sun. He did not see the wax of his wings beginning to melt. Come back, Icarus, Daedalus shouted one last time. A feather floated down past his face, and then another, and another. Icarus, Daedalus screamed as his son toppled out of the sky. Father, help me, Icarus cried as he tumbled down, down, down. It was too late. Hovering in the air, Daedalus could only watch helplessly as his son plunged into the sea. Daedalus flew down. He pulled Icarus's broken body from the waves. He carried him to a nearby island. There he buried his son on the highest peak, as close to heaven as he could bring him. The island is still called Icaria, in honour of Icarus, the boy who soared with the birds. The end.